Sleep time's over. Kevin the Catalyst, DJ Zach Morris, Rob DeMello.
Yes.
By the way, greatest name. The greatest name.
Finally, someone acknowledges.
No,
Thank you.
You have no idea. You have no idea. So when you sent me a message, and so I read it, Zach Morris, right? And then it wasn't until I said it out loud. In fact, I said it to my wife, and I was like, "Oh, next week, can you remind me? I'm gonna go do this podcast, DJ Zach Morris." And I was like, "Oh, bro, what? His name is what?" Dude, Saved by the Bell.
What kind of parents you get? Yeah.
Dude, Golden Girls, Saved by the Bell were my favorite shows.
Wow.
I've never missed
what
an
a
episode.
spectrum of shows that is.
That says everything you need to know about me, bro.
That's unreal.
Yeah, those shows, bro. 80s. And dude, watch Golden Girls today. Okay? Watch it today.
Yeah.
And then just be like, oh, bro, that show was racy.
Yeah, they got away with it.
And how did I laugh back then? Because there's no way I understood any of these jokes. Right. I just love my grandma so much that show just reminded me. It really was. I swear to God.
Because I think we all watched it growing up, but we really didn't understand why.
Yeah, nobody understood.
Dude, that was Saved by the Bell, Golden Girls. Those are two greatest shows of all time. And I'll tell you what, Modern Family has slipped into that category for me. I love that show. Sorry to throw it off the rails, but when you, DJ Zach Morris, bro.
This was for this very moment. This is the reason why I gave myself that moniker for this moment right here.
Dude, Kelly Kapowski.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Kelly.
Classic episode.
I've always loved you,
Jesse.
Kelly Kapowski.
There you go. Who didn't love Kelly Kapowski? Really?
And the funny thing with Jessica Spano was that growing up, no one I knew would like Jessie, right? People either like Lisa Turtle or Kelly Kapowski or even Tori, the leather jacket chick that came in, right? No one liked Jessie until everyone got older, and you look back, you're like, dude, she was hot. How did she was hot, right?
But she was tall, with the good legs.
Exactly, but I think, and then Showgirls came out. Right?
That changed the game.
That changed the game, bro. K-Side Tigers, baby. Let's go to the max after this.
This is the best thing ever. That's it. Goes up. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, that's the show right there. There you go.
Well, before we really do that, okay, let's get to this one because I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on this one too, Kevin. This is gonna be
we probably all got the same people.
That's why. So let's go.
People left off. So.
The Mount Rushmore, we haven't done one in a while. Yeah. So the Mount Rushmore of Hawaii sportscasters. Now, this is something that you grew up with or you didn't. And a lot of us in our demographic have. So let's go with it. So Rob, being our guest, go with it. Who was your first inductee?
Okay, so I'm gonna do this the super DUI route way and Portuguese way. I'm gonna have to really explain this because it's hard. It's hard for me who grew up wanting to do this my whole life. So I appreciated people, I think, a little more than anybody else, and so I'm gonna say that I think a name that should be on there, but I'm leaving off is Les Kiter, and it's because I wasn't old enough to truly appreciate what he did. I can't tell you anything he's done. I can't, so it's almost like that whole Babe Ruth thing like we were talking about earlier, where like he was great and obviously he meant a lot to this state, and but I don't remember him. Like I just remember him based on being a kid saying I want to be Les Kiter, but I didn't know what was going on. I didn't. So I'm not putting him on there. The first person I'll put is Jim Leahy.
Yes.
But even that, so we're talking just anything, right? It could be play-by-play, it could be, or we're talking like news, we're talking sports.
I could discuss this too.
It's only news.
Because
okay, so that's
I had Leahy on there too.
Okay, so if we're just talking news, we're just talking news. Okay, this is gonna help. Okay, so Jim is off. Jim, the GOAT though.
He's the GOAT.
The man.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
So number one, I'm gonna go Robert Kikaula. Number one, and I think obviously he did a lot for me. He gave me my first paid job, my first real job. But at the end of the day, no matter what you're doing, especially when you're on whether it's a podcast or radio or TV, is you want to make it your own.
Right.
You want to be remembered. You want to be different. You want to. And with Robert Kikaula, that's him more than anybody else in this state's history ever. So some people like him, some people don't like him, whatever. But either way, the guy was different than anything you've ever seen, and continues to be the one and only of his kind.
Right.
Yeah.
So Robert Kikaula is on that.
No, that's a great one, and he's going to be one that everyone knows who that is.
Yeah.
He's going to be one of the most recognizable ones.
Yeah.
You're going to know that name.
I feel he ushered
don't
in,
even know.
He bought in the local. He bought Hawaii to sports.
He brought the local flair to it.
Yeah, local
Well,
Hawaii to
and
sports.
to go on that is, we talked about the next Max Holloway and all that, right? With Robert Kikaula, when I was wanting to be a sportscaster as a kid, I'm Hawaiian Portuguese, right? This guy is Hawaiian.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like the guys that are on ESPN,
Right,
and I knew I didn't, and I didn't sound like them, and so really, I mean, huge inspiration to me. I didn't want to be like him, and we do things very differently, but he allowed me to think that I could do it, and that was big. That was real big for me.
Great call on that one. Okay, so we'll just go down the line, all 4 in a row then, and then we go to let's go straight. So what else you got on the list?
Number 2 is Neil Everett.
Yes.
And that's personal. Obviously Neil is my mentor. And the funny thing is that when Neil was a sportscaster in Hawaii, he wasn't a big name. People didn't watch Neil when he was here. It's when he went to ESPN and he brought Hawaii with them that's when he really was loved by the Hawaii people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, when Neil was the sports director at KGMB, everyone was watching KGMB sports. No, people were watching Bob Hogan, Robert Kikaula, and Rusty Amanoha, and Neil wasn't the guy he was ever. At no point in his career in Hawaii was he the guy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. That where when he left, everyone loved him. It was kind of because even his style didn't fit in Hawaii because he was kind of sarcastic.
No, that's the thing. Yeah,
and,
it was very unique. Because you could tell if you're into watching sportscasting, you could see it that this guy is onto something totally different from any of the local guys. Very witty, sarcastic, very quick.
Yeah.
And something was there, and it's only fitting.
Yeah.
That he made it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Neil. That's really personal that I put Neil on.
Oh yeah.
But Kikaula, and really Neil, the first person that ever brought me in for anything, and then Kikaula, the first person that gave me a job. So definitely, this is a personal choice.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got? What's number 3?
Number 3, I'm gonna go Kanoa Leahy. Kanoa. Who again?
Right.
And I'm not just saying this because that they're my boys but Kanoa is so smart and so smooth, and for a long time, for a good amount of time, probably a good decade run where that's who everyone watched, that's who everyone tuned in, and that's who everyone got their
He's
their
on the right?
Yeah, he lives on Maui now. He does Maui radio, and then obviously he does college basketball for ESPN, and then he does all of the U8 sports on Spectrum. With the exception of football, Kikaula does play-by-play for football. Kanoa and I do the pre-game, halftime, and post-game show on Spectrum. But Kanoa is just a man. He's so talented, so smart, and that's a dude that I feel should be on there. I realize that all of these are kind of recent, but again, I feel like I could only appropriately judge them and on what I saw.
Right. Of course. So, that's very fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
who else we got?
My 4th. This is out of left field, I think, for a lot of people, and I'm gonna have to really explain this one. Sam Spangler.
Oh, here you go.
Okay.
And here's why. And this and probably no one else has that. He'd only done it for 6 years, but it's the witnessing of the evolution of Sam, who has since left, moved to the Big Island. He was a guy I covered at the University of Hawaii. He was a pitcher that helped them win the WAC championship in 2010. He was drafted by the Twins. He goes to the minor leagues for a year. He gets cut. He comes back to Hawaii because he's with a local girl and figures, okay, I love Hawaii. I'm going to live here for the rest of my life. And so right around the time he comes back, Kanoa's moving to Maui. So I'm going to be taking Kanoa's job, and I need someone to work with me. And there's a couple of people in town that I reached out to, Felipe Ohastro being one of them, because he was my former intern, my former board op for radio. And but Felipe really passionate about play-by-play. Those are two very different jobs. And so so it's not really for him. Tried some other routes. Didn't work out, and I said, like, you know what? Sam Spangler, man. The guy is super smart. The guy has great personality. I like the guy. You know, I might have enough time to, while Kanoa's still there, that I could try to teach this guy everything I know, get him ready. And so, so I brought him in. And so for 3 months before even KHON knew, he was shadowing me.
Wow.
Before it was time to choose somebody. And so it was like a total plan where, okay, bro, you still have signing bonus money from when you played baseball. You're not going to work for the next 3 months. Like, can you survive? Can you get by? Because I can't pay you right now.
Right.
But what I can give you is a lesson, you know. And so, I mean, he never took a journalism class. He never stepped foot in a newsroom. He never touched the camera. He never wrote a script, nothing. He didn't know what a VO was, which is a voiceover. You know, all the little things.
Yeah.
Zero. I mean, he's the greenest person that ever come into our business. And so I put him up there because in 6 short years, became the best partner I've ever had, became my best friend, became a guy that a lot of Hawaii respected, and really, really good at his job. So I think from that standpoint, we have never seen anyone do that.
True.
Come in fresh, and especially in a job like sports where you're writing, you're shooting, you're editing, you're producing. I mean, you're a one-man band, you know?
Being on camera.
Yeah,
That's
and
hard
and the growth that you have to with being uncomfortable in front of the camera and then finding yourself to being comfortable. So as far as, you know, making an impact in Hawaii, you know, he's not one of those 4 that you'd put on that mountain, but firsthand experience and seeing what he accomplished.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to not let that go unnoticed. Like, that was amazing. It was truly, truly amazing. So for my Mount Rushmore, I
very personal.
Yes.
Mount Rushmore. There's nothing wrong with that.
And,
great stories
Yeah, and if can, like, you know, Liz Chun is honorable mentions, I'd say.
Okay, yeah.
Like the first real woman to do it, which opened the door for the Brandy Higas and the Taryn Hatchers and the Fred Weems and the many, many more that are becoming. Christy Tomashiro, who does radio. She's a producer at KHON and does sidelines for Spectrum. She has a bright future. Tiny Tadani was a guy that
that's right, Tiny,
that
very underrated.
You know, and
was there.
And at the end of the day, like, you know, as far as what the job is, like, did he break any big stories? Did he, you know, no, but he was just a guy that that made it fun, and, you know, and so someone that should be respected. Who else is there? Russell Yamanoha was the first like cameraman. So he was a cameraman and then went on air. So since then, you had a bunch of cameramen that ended up doing it. So really, Russell kind of paved the way for people that work in different other jobs within the station that want to go on air. I don't know of anyone really before him that did that. And since Russell, you had Mike Cherry, who was a cameraman first. Liz Chun was a camera operator before she went on air. And so Russell is definitely a guy. So I mean, I could go here. I could do a whole podcast.
That's a whole hour right there.
Wow.
But
that's it for the segment. All right, let's wrap it up.
That's it. Once again, Rob's gonna go golf. Gavin, what do you got?
So I had Kikaula.
Okay.
That's like sure shots, because when watching news, he actually bought in. It felt like he bought Hawaii to Hawaii. Right?
Yes.
So it's kind of, but you know what I mean, right? Because seems like everybody's trying to emulate these mainland sportscasters.
Yeah.
And then he just came on a low t-shirt all the time. He might have never worn a suit, maybe once. I don't even know.
So he tells a story that when KHON started, right, because KHON never used to have news,
right?
And then they started it. They brought him and Dan Cook, and in fact, Neil Everett was the weekend guy for that KHON station.
They picked off all these other.
And the very first day they put Robert in a suit. And it was just like, it was bad. He looked horrible. I mean, you know, because the suit's up to here, he has this big head, right? So he said he did it for like one day and then went back to the lodge.
So that just seeing that, you know, as a local kid, you're like, you know, I can connect with that Kamehameha guy too. So much respect for that.
More Kamehameha. My daughter goes Kamehameha.
Hey, right on, there you go. I was fortunate to go. If not, I would have gone Kalani or Kamiki. And that would have been a whole different story.
That's right.
But I went to the Kamehameha of the East, Kailua High School.
That's right.
That's what I heard about.
Which really is Wamanalo High School, because there's like 5 people from Kailua that go to that school.
Everybody goes
Kalahel, scoop them up.
We say,
There are people that you live across the street from that are in the Kalahel district, and you're on this side of the street.
Yeah, can I talk to them?
Hello, yeah, because why would you talk to anyone?
Leave me alone. Yeah. Gavin, what else you got?
I do have Les Kiter.
Okay, yeah.
Only because in elementary I used to watch the news.
Right, as did I. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I vaguely remember what.
We don't know what
I
he's
just
called.
remember his face, his reporting, and he was the opposite of, like, Hawaiian with Robert. He was the mainland dude.
Yeah.
So it's like when I watched him, I felt I was watching the mainland.
It was like Walter
dude.
Cronkite.
Yeah, Walter Cronkite of Hawaiian sports.
And like the epitome of, I mean, the guy was calling Muhammad Ali boxing
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
in New York, and
You would always hear about
live
this.
on ABC, and the guy's working in
Yeah,
Hawaii.
and you know,
The general, right?
Yeah.
Him and Joe Moore, that bastard.
Yeah, that was the one.
I think that was all-time favorite duo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up.
That's tag team champions of the world. right there.
Yeah.
No, good
That was
call.
the NWO,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Then I had Bob Hope.
Okay, yeah.
I thought like growing up. I mean, I was young. I just felt like that was the dude that you couldn't stump him on sports trivia.
Yeah.
It just I don't know the dude. I don't know anything. You know him.
Right.
But when I watched it, I felt like this guy knows everything about sports.
Yeah.
Maybe he played when he was younger. And he didn't fit the part of the typical kind of balding.
Yeah.
Little
And
pear
smooth, though, his
shape.
voice is
but
so smooth.
Very
and
smooth
free,
voice.
And just the fact that he was so intelligent when he talked.
Right.
And he was good on camera. I was bummed when, I guess the station changed over or whatever. They didn't retain him. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I wasn't there at the time.
But it felt like to me, it seemed like they wanted to get someone that was more easier on the eyes. That's just my opinion. So they got him off, and I was like, dude, Bob,
There was something about that, yeah.
I thought he was the man, and he had his own like he did some sports show.
Hawaii Sports
He was
Finals.
the Sports Finals.
That's why.
That was
see?
his thing.
So
Yeah.
you know, because he did that too, and I liked that even more. I thought it was awesome. So I would follow him wherever he went, and he did the whole Pac West thing. and all that
He's
stuff.
still doing. He's the commissioner of the Pacific West Conference.
dope.
That is,
dude.
yes.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
And I think,
Yeah.
I mean, so real quick, they're covering that. Like, what is, because University of Hawaii is the school. But, I mean, Chaminade, well, there's no BYU Hawaii anymore. Hilo, Chaminade, HPU. So where does that stand on the coverage? Like,
So that's interesting because this is the constant struggle. Is obviously UH is a big deal, and then you have the athletes that are from Hawaii and all that, and in the Pac West and high school, you only have so much time, and it's, there has to be a reason why you're showing it.
Yeah.
There has to be so the struggle with the Pac West is, if you notice, we'll cover them when there's a story going on, when something interesting is happening with it, or a team is doing ranked. Team is ranked. Anytime a team is ranked, like a men's basketball team is a top 25 team, we'll cover them. And the reason why we do that is we're giving people the reason of, okay, this is why we're covering them. Because you can't cover HPU without covering Chaminade, without covering BYUH, without covering UH Hilo, and you just don't have enough time to cover them all. So it's like you kind of have to okay, if there's nothing going on, I can't really go there. Because I can't go there with one without the rest.
Right.
And so that's kind of where I stand on the Pac West. And so at the end of every year, the Pac West tournament, you're covering it because these Hawaii teams are in it, and if they win it, they're going to the NCAA tournament. But when it comes to day in, day out, I'll cover the things that happen. A player wins an award, or a player has an awesome game, or someone's having a good season. I'll go do a story on them. But from day to day, like HPU is playing Sonoma State today, that usually doesn't make the daily sportscast. And for the reason being is that we try to be as fair as possible. That's why I started the Cover 2 rankings. Why we have a rankings, because on a Friday night, we can't, I hate being Oahu centric. Right? I want to give Hilo, the Big Island and Kauai, Maui, Molokai, those schools the same opportunity that the Oahu ones have. So if we create a ranking system, then now when people watch the news and they see the games that we're showing, it makes sense to them. Like, oh, this is number 1 versus number 7. That's a big game.
Yeah.
So
as opposed to just Roosevelt's close, so I'll go show the Roosevelt highlights.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
When you open up the voting, if you need new balloteers,
You're in, bro.
let me know. I do watch my amount of high school sports.
Yeah. There's 20 voters, and someone's getting the boot, bro.
Come on, man.
Who's that lucky guy?
Come on, man. Schools couple on number 1. Who voted for that? First thing vote, Cabot.
Rigged.
Cut him out, bro. Cut him out.
Oh, horrible.
Okay, so last
What else
one.
you got?
Last one, bro. This is the most one right here. Next to face chisel his face on there. Rob DeMello.
Oh, come on!
He's on that right there. I see his face right there. I got all the Chinese guys up there clicking those.
That's a homer pick. You're getting booed right now by the audience.
What?
There might be some eye rolling, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Wait,
I don't know.
Hey,
Driving.
you don't need an eye roll. Come on, bro. That was crossing the line.
No, yeah.
Eye roll is worse than a boo.
Did people not listen to the segment before this on his come up? Like, come on, that deserves it.
Also, from hearing that
not your work.
Rob DeMello's already on my list. He was coming in.
All right.
Hey, I tell you what. Like,
so there's my 4.
I definitely wouldn't put myself there, bro. But I hope one day that when it's all said and done, like that's why I do this. Like I try to be the best you can be. Therefore, maybe someone considers you the best, right?
Well, we do. Well, I do. One half of sleep time is over considering you're the best. That's all that matters.
Well, keep in mind who contacted who here.
Therefore,
yes, that's why we wanted you on this show.
We don't pick no Yahoos, bro.
No.
We're not gonna pick some Johnny come late.
Yeah, bro.
That is correct. Yes, we're gonna sign up for
That's
that
my
as
4.
well. That is your 4. Okay.
I got there's a lot of.
I'll
I'll give Terran Hatcher a rock on the side for various reasons, but we'll just keep going,
So that's going to be your
that's my 4, bro.
honorable mention is Taryn Hatcher. Really?
She has a rock.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, fine. That's fine.
At the beach.
She could be the tour guide that says, "Oh, look at this."
There you go. Yeah.
Wow, there you go.
And then
Turn on your recorders now. We're gonna go with.
What you got?
Okay,
Zach?
so a lot of them have been mentioned. A lot of them.
Yeah.
I had to put Les Kiter because that's where we grew up.
Yeah.
Bottom line, as a kid, watching the news for the first time.
Yeah, that's that.
Joe Moore, the general.
Yeah, exactly.
We never heard any of his commentating, but it just he had that voice, he had that presence to him.
Yeah.
Walter Cronkite of Hawaii Sports. Gotta go Neil Everett.
Yep.
Okay.
Because there was no one. He stood out clearly from all of these local guys because of just that sarcasm, and he just had that wit that when you could totally see him being on ESPN show.
Oh, yeah.
And even when he did HPU basketball.
Yeah, HB basketball,
Even that was interesting to listen to. He was a good comment, and I would never, Lou Ellen Smalley.
Those games back in the day were good.
They were dominating.
They were killing it. Taylor did a great job.
So it was only fitting that you have this guy, who was a witty guy, being the commentator. So I had to put him on there. Kid Collie, you got to put him on there.
Yeah.
Stood out again. The only local guy out there talking pigeon on there. That was it.
There you go.
And then the 4th one I was stuck on because I had Jim Leahy on.
Okay.
So if we're gonna take Leahy out, with just
you would have been on there. Canal would have been on there.
I gotta go to another guy who made it to California. That was
I know where you're going. I left him off. Yeah, my bad.
I gotta go Larry Beal.
Yeah, Larry Beal. Yeah, aloha means goodbye.
He coined that one.
Yeah.
And he's in San Francisco now.
San Francisco.
He was another kind of a smooth, kind of not as sarcastic as Neil, but he had that smooth presence that you could see him as an ESPN guy, which he made it.
Yeah. See, and Larry is a lot like Les for me, where I knew Larry at ESPN. I didn't remember him.
Right.
I remembered, I knew who he was, but I just wasn't old enough to appreciate it or really know what was going on. But Larry, I mean, you talk about voices.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you're judging just on voices, I mean, that Larry Beal might be at the very, very top.
Yeah.
Because that guy was.
Great voice.
Yeah, that guy still is.
Right.
Still is. And